Drinks, food, art, fun. This is Hops and Spirits Kentucky.
Welcome back to another edition of Hops and Spirits Kentucky, and the calendar has flipped again. We're in October, and we've left National Bourbon Heritage Month behind us. I hope you enjoyed Whiskey Weeks 2022, and we're sorry we were off last week. Some things just kind of come up, and those happen, but we're back again with another great episode, talking with the folks from the Kentucky Proud Beer Program, or beer series, that is launching this month for its 7th iteration. It's a really cool thing. You'll have to hear all about that. But before we get to that, let's do some news and notes since we've missed a little bit. The number of bourbon barrels in Kentucky reached a record number this year, the Kentucky Distillers Association announced. As of January, the state reached 11.4 million barrels, or 12 million when other aging spirits are included, the group said in a recent release. The record was hit after the industry reached its 4th consecutive year, filling more than 2 million barrels of bourbon. So I think there's going to be some bourbon for us here as we move forward down the road. In other news, Ross and Scribb Distillery announced the latest member of the Remus Bourbon family, Remus Gatsby Reserve, released to celebrate F. Scott Fitzgerald's legendary novel, The Great Gatsby, a century ago. From its events in 1922 to its publication in 1925, Remus Gatsby Reserve is bottled at 97.8 proof and offered in ultra-limited quantities at an MSRP of $200 per 750 milliliter bottle. It's made with 15-year-old reserves and offered at cask strength. If you don't know about George Remus, look him up. Northern Kentucky was his home base for a long, long time, and boy, what a history he has there. In Lexington, a couple openings to announce. Villainous, a tabletop gaming pub, officially is open at 191 Jefferson Street, across from Wine and Market and down the street from Distilled and Blue Heron. At Villainous, you can bring your own game or play one of the dozens provided. Guests can also get a dose of pop culture artwork and themed menu items like the Dawn of the Dead cocktail. Also, Jack Brown's Burger and Beer Joint will be taking over the old Oscar Dig space downtown at 155 North Limestone. No official opening date just yet. But up next is our Q&A with Jessy Harding of the Kentucky Guild of Brewers and Tyler Madison from Kentucky Proud to talk about the 7th annual Kentucky Proud Beer Series, which is going on all month long. Enjoy.
Remember to check out Hops and Spirits on social media at Hop Spirits, all one word, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also find Hops and Spirits on YouTube and at hopspirits.com.
Joining us here on the Hops and Spirits for the Q&A to talk about the Kentucky Proud Beer Series, we have two guests because it takes two partners to make this happen, and we'll get into all of it. Please welcome in the Executive Director of the Kentucky Guild of Brewers, Jessy Harding. Jessy, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, glad you're here. And also the Creative Marketing Manager for the Kentucky Proud Program. Welcome in, Tyler Madison. Tyler, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Well, it's never a bad thing when you get to talk beer, and especially when it's something brewed locally and with some cool things going on. And that's what you guys are here to talk about. But I guess before we even get too far into it all, even talking about what the programs that you're part of, I guess I call it Cliff Notes because I'm always curious to just get a little bit of background knowledge on who we're talking to. So who wants to go first and not give away all their secrets just yet?
What do you think, Jessy? You ready to go?
I can go first.
All right.
So Jessy Harding, Executive Director for the Kentucky Guild of Brewers. A little background on the Guild. We sort of exist as an organization to kind of be an amplified and unified voice for breweries across the state of Kentucky. And that goes with anything from legislative affairs, governmental things, promotions, doing any kind of event organizing, media publication, going on podcasts, things like that, and just helping amplify their businesses, their voices, and kind of just make them be at the forefront of people's minds in the Commonwealth.
Nice. I guess I can jump in there. So my name's Tyler. Like you just said, I'm the creative marketing manager for Kentucky Proud. So I'm originally from Kentucky, and I did that thing that I think a lot of people do that are from here. After I graduated college, I never come back to Kentucky. Kind of bounced around a little bit. was up in Northern England for a while, and then went to Atlanta, and from Atlanta went to Nicaragua, and then went back to Northern England. And then I ended up back here and had been working in wine over in England. And when I moved back here, I found a job at the Department of Agriculture, kind of overseeing their grape and wine program, their marketing program, which was awesome. So managed to get that job, worked there for, I don't know, about 7 years or so. I actually still oversee that program, the Grape and Wine Council, but then I kind of transitioned into this creative marketing manager position at Kentucky Proud, which basically means that I spend a lot of time working on media campaigns and doing a lot of copywriting and posting and scrolling through social media and generally kind of doing what I can to help promote Kentucky farms and farm families.
Well, and both of you are doing that with this series, and as we talk about it, and we'll kind of also tell a little bit more about the guild and how it works and things like that beyond stuff, and same with the Kentucky Proud program. But the Kentucky Proud Beer Series is actually in its 7th year, and folks may not even realize it's been around that long, but it's in its 7th year, but it's also switching up and going to a month-long celebration. Can you talk about the switch up and just the series in general?
So the month-long that's Jessy's brainchild. So I guess I'll let her take that one and take zero credit for it.
Yeah. So previous to this role, which I just took over July 1st officially, I have been in beer in Kentucky. And so I've always kind of been on the outlier, but still part of this series and the brewery that I worked for Against the Grain for 10 years. And we always participated in that programming. And I thought it was super cool. I'm very into agriculture just as a personal passion. And I love what both the Department of Ag and Kentucky Proud as a whole, the programs are great. And I think it's a really unique and cool thing that we are doing. And so we really wanted to spread it over the month to kind of, as you mentioned, it's been going on 7 years and there's not as much traction as I think that people who are passionate about it thought that there would be. And so spreading it over the month and being able to promote it for a longer period of time, allowing for different days throughout the month to go and try the different beers versus saying, hey, we're doing one release of all of these different beers across the whole state. Hope you can go try a couple. This way, we were able to kind of spread that love around and give people time to be able to access. So yeah, hopefully with the podcast here and some other media that we've been doing, people will start to know and recognize and hope grow it to even more.
I think we were actually drinking a beer at Blue Stallion and Jessy was like, we should make this a month. And I was like, yeah, we totally should do that. That's a great idea.
Well, and Tyler, you've, I'm guessing, been a part of this for a good while too. How did it all originally kind of come together, and why did the Kentucky Proud program want to do something like this?
So this is the 7th year, and I've been very involved for 6 years. So there was a guy by the name of Ben Schaffer who worked here a while ago, and he kind of kicked this off with the then executive director of the Guild of Brewers. And from my understanding, it was just sort of a good idea that popped up, and you thought, we're always trying to expand the amount of Kentucky farm impact products that are on store shelves in different areas, farmers markets, anywhere we can, and beer made a lot of sense. So I think the two just sort of came together, and since then it's been growing, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I love beer, so this is like one of my, I'm probably not supposed to say like, what's my favorite promotion of the year that I work on, but if I was to say that, like this would be at the very top. It like ticks all my boxes, like great beer, local products. So yeah, so it's awesome. It's really cool being involved in it.
Well, and I mean, it's always cool to see, because everyone, I feel like with craft beer, it's always, hey, it's local. It's in my town down the road, or it's in my state that I'm in. And then to go a step further and know that the ingredients are from that state is even cooler. And when you're putting those people together, those producers, the farmers with the brewers, how does that work? Is it kind of like you got some producers that are like, hey, I've got something, or do you go out and say, hey, I know you make this cool, you're doing blackberries, or you're doing pawpaws or whatever, I think you might be good for this? How does that kind of work? Because I feel like for some they might be willing and volunteering, and others they might be a little skeptical.
Yeah. So early on,
Go ahead.
Yeah, early on, like it was a lot of handholding. We've got our database that has all of our Kentucky Proud members, so we can track through farms. So the first couple of years, I felt like we spent a lot of time trying to connect producers and brewers and make those connections. And now, I mean, I think we had a couple of breweries that reached out that were looking for something specific, but it was like almost hands off for us. It's like over the years, they've established these connections themselves and really kind of know farmers and what they're looking for and what to get, which, if you ask me, that kind of really feels like a win for us. You're seeing people that are making these connections with farmers. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think it's important to note too, just that these breweries are already producing Kentucky Proud products. They make beer within this state, which and is a product. So they've gone through the process through the Kentucky Proud website. They are producing Kentucky Proud products already. So really it's a collaboration between two different types of Kentucky Proud producer. And through, like Tyler said in the beginning, doing a lot of heavy matching and things. And then so many breweries also are invested in their communities. So some of them have developed through the years their own relationships outside of any connection we have or could ever make with people local to them or just local to the state and the area. So, we've got like coffee is going to be in one of the beers, and that's just like the local coffee shop that someone's made a really good relationship with through the years. And so, yeah, it's been really nice to see them having developed their own relationships and kind of reach out to the people that they really like to partner with also.
Well, and it's really cool to see what they're putting in it, because like I kind of touched on it, but I mean, I think you've got things from honey to butternut squash to pawpaws to even jalapenos. I mean, it's a wide variety of produce that is going into a beer.
The butternut squash threw me a little bit. Yeah. Do you know exactly what they're doing, Jesse, with that one? I was reading about it this morning.
I don't. I mean, I'll be honest. I have read through a lot of emails of what beers people are producing. So off top, I'm not sure, but I'm really looking forward to that one. I love pawpaws in beer. It's not the first time it's been done. Certainly excited to try that because I've never had a beer made with pawpaw that I did not like. So yeah, it is. It's a wide variety, and that's good. That's what we want. We want them to be using their creative juices and building each other up. It's great. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I've started making my list of the beers that I have to try. I think they all look awesome, but like for sure, I think it's a chili wheat from Oldham Brewing that looks really good. I'm super interested in that like watermelon Kolsch that Rockhouse is doing. I think that's going to be awesome. So yeah, so I guess I probably can't make it to all of them. I'm going to try to make it to all of them. That's my goal anyways.
Well, it's a work related thing,
it's
right?
Work,
you can expense it, you can mileage. Yeah. I mean, technically totally it's quality control, making sure everything's going well. Everything went well. I mean, that's a good excuse to travel.
I'll just take this clip and like send it straight to my boss and be like, see, it's work. It's fine.
Well, and to talk a little bit further about like the Kentucky Proud program, for those that they might see it on the shelves. They might know that, UK's got a ballpark called the Kentucky Proud Park and things like that. What is the Kentucky Proud program and how does it work?
I guess probably the simplest way to explain the Kentucky Proud program is that it's the official agricultural marketing brand for the state of Kentucky. So it was developed way back in 2004, and the Department of Agriculture basically tried to create a brand that would be a central platform to promote agriculture throughout the state and local products and farm families. And that grew, and eventually in 2008, legislation made it the official brand. So, a lot of what we do, a lot of people have seen the logo, may not know exactly what it means, but probably what's most important about Kentucky Proud is that it's really rooted in Kentucky farms. So it's not just that it's a local brand. It's, our whole mission is to promote agriculture in Kentucky. So that's really what we do. And we do that through, media campaigns and promotions and sponsorships. We've got grants for producers. So it's a pretty big program that has a lot of recognition, and happy to be working on it.
Well, and to then go to the other side, you touched on this at the beginning, Jesse, about the guild and how you guys are there to, give a collective voice to the group, because it's not like everyone can go to different things to lobby for different maybe laws that are passing to help with distributions, things like that. But also it's probably a way to help connect people and let them know what's available. So I guess on the larger scale, how does the guild work, and how has the craft industry, beer industry grown in Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, it's grown an exorbitant amount pretty quickly, really. And we have new breweries come online all the time, either reaching out to us to find out, how they can join, or talk to us about what stage they are at in their process of like, hey, we want to do this. How can you help, kind of thing. And so I'd say that's super paramount to a lot of starting up breweries, or brewery and planning, as we call them. We have a database of resources. We're a nonprofit, and we exist off of a membership base. That's both brewery members and our affiliate membership, which is a variety of things. Kentucky Proud is an affiliate member. Anything from government affairs, tourism boards, accountants, healthcare, HR companies, lawyers, etc. And so it's kind of being a tool and a resource to brewers, whether they've existed for 10 years or are new in the process of saying, hey, I'm looking to get a new payroll company. I don't know where to start. You Google something and 1,000 businesses show up. And that's great. But we really want to connect them with businesses that know how to work with breweries, have worked with breweries, and are passionate about the industry the same way that we are. So being able to provide a list and say, hey, and then by no means are they required to use, who we send them, but it's a really nice symbiotic relationship between affiliates, breweries, and then of course beyond that, updating and getting laws changed to help move the needle forward for the craft beer industry. And we've done tons of things in that realm as well over the last decade. The growth has been exponential. I think I want to say in 2011, we ended the year with 8 breweries in the state. And now we have over 80. So just in 11 years, it's a lot. It's substantial growth, and it doesn't really look like it's slowing down. I mean, of course, we had a little lull, but shockingly, a lot of breweries opened during the pandemic because, quite frankly, they were already in process. They already had places. They were already moving forward, and there was no just stopping that. So that was really neat to see too, and how people changed and pivoted to even open during that time. So.
Well, it's been a wild time. I know just in my time here in Lexington, I've seen a handful come and very few go, which is probably a true testament to the industry's health. And obviously this is talking about the program that you guys have built in the Kentucky Proud Beer Series, but beyond just this time, you guys have both talked about how these breweries have worked with local producers to bring in local ingredients. And I guess at the end of the day, why is that so important to go that step further and bring in those local ingredients? Obviously we can't do everything. We're in Kentucky. We do have some limitations thanks to some seasons in our climate, but at the same time, we can produce a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I think that, Kentucky has such a strong agricultural community and base, and we produce so much. I mean, the in variety speaking wise, like the climate here is just so good for so many things. And I think it's been really inspiring to see, because it kind of gets breweries thinking outside of the box. Like, obviously everyone wants to support their local, anyone that's, you're trying to support local as much as you can. And so if you are going to put, blackberries was a great example, state fruit of Kentucky. If you are thinking like, we should make a blueberry or a blackberry beer, there's just no real reason to go outside of the state and try to have that come from anywhere else. Support,
Yeah, and I guess I'll tack onto that the breweries here in Kentucky, like in every other state, are part of the local community, and that's the same way with farmers. And so by connecting the two and working together, you're really just building up your local community and helping out your neighbors. And I think everybody wants to do that. And I think it's important for everyone.
And I think the coolest thing I've seen here in Kentucky, and I'm sure this happens other places, but I guess I never saw it where I lived at the time, was when I go to my local farmers market, I am not expecting to see the brewery there. with product and my ability to maybe even walk around and have a drink while I'm at the farmer's market. But I guess that goes with that symbiotic relationship, that it is all one. They're producing things, and that is just probably one of the best things I think I can see with how these things go.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's any scientific evidence on this yet, but I feel like if you're walking around with the beer at the farmer's market, you're probably going to buy more local produce too. Everybody's happier with the beer.
Probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And we've talked too about how this event has grown. It's in its 7th year. It's in its first time being a month long. But how has it grown just in general? Because obviously you probably now have a good group of brewers that always want to be a part of it. There's new breweries coming on, and I'm sure the same with producers that are happy to be part of it. How has this grown over time, and how do you guys kind of see it growing going forward?
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jessy.
Okay. I was going to say, I think the first year, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, I think there were only like 10 or 12 breweries that purchased, or there might have been more. It might have been closer to 20. But what we did was we actually did collaborations not only with the farms, but breweries did collaborations and with the farms. So 2 breweries would make the same beer in collaboration with 1 farm. And now, while we have a couple on the list that are doing collabs and totally encouraged, and that's great, we have significantly more. We have 22 on the list, I think, this year, and most of them are doing it on their own versus partnering up, which gives us a larger variety and a larger footprint. So that alone, and it has grown, and that's been really nice to see that growth. And then I'll let Tyler speak to that part, and then maybe we can collab on how we see it growing in the future.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it has grown. I think that every year, definitely consumers and the brewers are a little more familiar with the process. And I think a lot of the breweries that have participated a few times in the past, or maybe even every year in the past, are at the point now where they kind of look forward to this time of year, and it's something that we all anticipate. So, just seeing that growth and seeing people now that ask about, when the beer series is going to happen, makes you feel good to see something coming from that you worked on early on, and just seeing it grow and seeing people get excited about it.
Yeah. The growth. I think we both, without committing to anything live, I think we both have really big plans on how this can continue to grow. We really wanted to try out this new model of doing the month long, just to kind of get our feet wet in the growth process, with promotions and getting everyone excited, and hopefully reaching more consumers that can also get excited. And I would love to actually just do a little reach out to the public and see what they want to see out of it, because their feedback is, really paramount for attracting the business to, try the beers, be excited for it. It's nice. It promotes the farms as well. A lot of these farms have capabilities of being visited and doing tours and things. So yeah, I think just bigger and more. That's my goal.
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about working in marketing is that there's always evolution. And so there's always something new to do. So like right now, as of today, I'm feeling really, really good about this year's beer series. Like I'm super excited about it. So far, everything has gone really smoothly that I've been involved with, unless Jessy's like totally holding out on me. And there's like some huge calamity just waiting in but
thankfully,
so,
no.
yeah. So right now I'm really excited, but by the end of October, I'm going to look back on this and immediately be like, well, we should have done this, or we could do this next year. And I think there's that reflective period where you figure out what you can do better. And I think being in the 7th year now, it's built every year. So next year, I don't think we've really talked about this. I would love to do like more kind of farm to table type of pairing events, get food involved a little more, different ways to reach out to consumers. I mean, there's always something. So I'm going to be happy right now. And then at the end of October, we'll think again.
Yeah.
Well, and the good news is just about every brewery now has some type of food component. It seems as they've built toward that to allow folks to, spend a little more time there. So maybe some future things to talk about there. And, how can folks find out about who the participating breweries are and what those releases are, and maybe where the product's coming from?
Sure. There's several locations actually. Kentucky Proud website. I believe it's just KY Proud.
kyproud.com/beer.
/beer. Yeah, and it has everything listed there, the dates and the breweries that are participating. We also have Facebook. There's events on the Kentucky Guild of Brewers page, and it's linked with Kentucky Proud as co-hosts and each brewery as a co-host. So each brewery that's releasing will have that event on their social media as well as our social media. And then there's a link in our bio on Instagram that goes to an interactive map to find each of the events as well. And we start Monday with the first one, and we go all the way through the 27th. So,
and the map is really cool. So you should definitely check the map out.
I like the idea of a map because you can look at a brewery. Some of them you'll be able to figure out pretty easy. Others you'll be like, where in the world is that?
Yeah.
And depending on which one it is even, you might want to zoom in pretty good and get some directions, because I know some of them can be out in the country a little bit. So I'm excited to see this series. I'm excited to hopefully get to try some of the beers. And anything else you guys want to add about the series and why people should go out and give them a try?
Delicious beers, local ingredients. It's October, or it's going to be October. I mean, it's basically like the trifecta of the best beer drinking time ever. So
yes,
that's my pitch.
Weather and good local beers with local ingredients.
That it is hard to beat that. It is pretty. It's as simple as that. Good local beer, good local ingredients, hopefully good local weather too. And Jessy, Tyler, I appreciate you sharing this. And kyproud.com/beer. Check it out, and also on Instagram at the Guild's Instagram account for the map as well. And thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah,
great being with you.